is an editorial that came out August 31st, 2018 in Fredericksburg.com. Why is suicide on the rise in rural America? Suicide to a person trapped in a downward emotional and mental cycle can seem like a logical way out of, I guess, whenever things get unbearable. A person is thinking to themselves, well, I don't really have to be here. When a person has decided to end his life, studies with survivors show he is not being selfish and thinking only of himself, as some might think. Rather, in his mind, he's thinking his death will spare his loved ones unnecessary pain, needless heartache, and unbearable suffering from seeing a loved one sink deeper into illness. In Virginia during 2016, there were 1,166 confirmed suicide, a rate of 13.2 deaths per 100,000 residents, while in line with states. Now, it's saying the highest rates are showing up in the South and Mid-Atlantic. Figures for the Commonwealth has been rising for the past decade and a half. Virginia rates also isn't nearly as bad as states in the American West, according to the CDC. Suicide rates in the past 2 decades show the illness toll being highest in rural parts of the country, hence states such as Montana, Idaho, South Dakota, Utah, New Mexico, and the rest of America's Western heartland have the highest rates per 100,000 residents. Along these lines, according to Governing magazine, suicide rates are increasing the fastest in rural America. From 2012 through 16, the rate in rural America increased 14.5%. In small cities, the increase was 13.7% in the same period. The highest rates found in rural states such as Montana, Alaska, and Wyoming, each more than 25 per 100,000, were 3 times higher than urban states such as Massachusetts, New Jersey, and New York. In 2016, data also shows something else shocking. Non-Hispanic white males had the highest suicide rate of any demographic group of 26.5 deaths per 100,000 persons. The next 2 highest rates were 10.9 for Hispanic men and 10.5 for African American men. Delving into why of this national crisis can be tricky. In rural states where the rates are the highest, jobs may be the fewest and economic opportunities the scarcest. But it may also be the case that because the population is dispersed so widely, mental health resources are lacking, whereas in a relatively small state such as Massachusetts, it's more economically feasible to locate mental health facilities in the middle of population centers where the need is greatest. But it's the suicide rate of non-Hispanic white males that has the medical profession alarmed. At 26.5 deaths per 100,000 people, it's a rate that is so high that the average life expectancy of that demographic group has actually declined since the early 2000s, something almost unheard of in developed Western countries, especially for a demographic that controls a nation's wealth and politics. The next highest rate for Hispanic and African American men have actually been declining in the same period, and their life expectancy rates have been rising. Well, so much for that. We live longer than you. Well, not so much anymore. So, what should be our approach to rising suicide rates, especially in rural America? Most importantly, we must realize that the cause are myriad. Some are mental health related, meaning some sort of chemical imbalance in the brain or mental illness that makes one susceptible to suicide lure. Some are situational, meaning they are related to sudden negative life changes, job loss, divorce, bankruptcy. We must also realize the fight against suicide will be multi pronged and expensive, meaning a massive increase in funding for the modernization of mental health care delivery systems, economic development strategies to bring jobs to regions decimated by economic change, and an increase in the quality and availability of educational opportunities in these regions. Halting the suicide epidemic is crucial to America's future because what these numbers say is that something is sick at the core of this society. Well, suicides have always been highest among white males. I mean, this data has been out for many decades. But I don't see things changing in America anytime soon, especially with Trump and this trade war going on. Don't expect to see job stability. And the job loss may actually drive it up even more because that is really going to come. In fact, I believe his trade war is going to throw the country back into another recession. I mean, it's not like we go through recessions every few years. It's no surprise or secret. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I will see you on the next video. Peace, family.